Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap 4 video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, yesterday we built this fixed background section here. If I scroll up, you can see that image in the background stays still while we're scrolling and the foreground moves. Today we're going to add 3 little columns with 3 buttons. We're going to use what they call a collapse module. So when we click on a button, it's going to open up a panel with some content in there. Haven't decided quite what I want to put in there yet, but we'll do that as we're going along. So let's get started. Anybody that's been following along, you can skip ahead. I'm just going to explain what we've been doing here. Here's our root folder. Root folder just means where everything starts, where all our files are. We created this folder and we created our pages, .html files, and our CSS file here, custom CSS, and got a little folder right there with our images in it. So I'm going to open up this page that we see behind us using my text editor. It's called Features. Just going to right click and open it with my brackets text editor. Brackets is absolutely free. You can download it from a link down below if you need a text editor. If you're already using a text editor, any text editor will do, that's fine. So it doesn't look like much, but here's our section with the ID of features that's got that image behind it that's fixed. Okay, so let's have a think. What do we want to do? I want to put 3 little columns in there, each with a little button in it, and when we click on the button I want it to expand and show some content. So let's start with that. We're going to have to make a row. So it's going to be a div with a class of row, and within that row I want 3 of them, so we're going to divide 12 by 4. Because Bootstrap viewable area is made of 12 equal parts. So if you want 3 columns, you've got to divide 12 by 3, which equals 4. If you want to learn more about columns, have a look down below. I've got a video dedicated to columns down there. Okay, so we're going to give this a div with a class of column, col, dash, middle, medium, 4. That should give us a nice third of a page column there. And of course I'm going to want 3 of these, 1 for each column. So let's just copy that. There's 1. Control C to copy. Control V to paste. There, we've got 3 columns now. 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see with brackets, if you click on the opening divider or div, it'll show you the closing one, so it's quite handy for seeing where you are. Okay, well, inside here all we really want is a button. I guess I'll wrap it in a paragraph tag, so let's open this. And within that paragraph tag, let's put a button. So we'll say an anchor, A. We've got to give it a class. What sort of button do we want? I guess we'll use our first one we've been using, which is the primary. So it's button, and the class of button, primary. For anybody that's not been watching, we've already custom styled a bunch of buttons here. Primary, danger, and success, so they look like how we want them to. That's why I'm putting in button primary here. Now we want to use this as a data toggle to actually open something, so we've also got to give it the data toggle. And we've got to tell it what type of data toggle is. Well, it's a collapse, which means it collapses and disappears when we click on the button here. So we'll say collapse. And then we've got to actually tell it where the stuff or the data, the content is that we actually want to collapse. So we'll put a link in there, href. There's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm doing it with a link here. Okay, so where do we want it to link to? Well, we haven't actually made the bit that we want to link to yet. So let's just make up a name or an ID that we want to link to. We'll do that with a hashtag. Let's call our first section, like I say, we've not built it yet. Let's call it fdata1. So features data 1, fdata. It doesn't matter what you call it as long as it's unique with a hashtag like that, so it knows which one it needs to open up. And we'll tell it it's a button, role, button. And we want what they call the area expanded, which means, do we want it collapsed or uncollapsed? Well, we want it collapsed. We want it disappeared. So area expanded. Area expand equals false. We don't want to see it. And the area controls what we've put back here, which is that fdata1. So we'll say area controls. Need to have a little dash in between there. And we've only got to write this out once because we can copy it again. Area controls. And that equals where we want to go, which is that fdata1, isn't it? Because we'll have 3 buttons and each one will open a different one. We'll call fdata1, fdata2, fdata3. That should work fine. Okay, so we should have a button there when I put this closing tag on. Now then, what do we want to have it say? Let's say backup, restore, and migration. How's that? So the first button I'll put as backup right there. Alright, so we're good with our first one. I'm just going to copy this over simply. Simply going to copy this whole line here. Control C, and I'm going to pop it in between our next 2 columns also. There we go. So now we've got 3 buttons that should actually do something, but we haven't created the something that they're going to do yet. So I guess we can have a quick look at what we've got here. I know there's a couple of tweaks I'm going to make. I guess I'll make those first. I want these buttons to be in the middle. So I'm going to give it each of these columns. Well, I guess I could put it on the row. Let's say text center. I was going to put that on the columns right here, but I'd need to do it 3 times. I guess if I do it on the parent one, it should just do the single one there. And our row, just in case we want to target it with a CSS, I'm going to give it another class of its own. I'm going to say F for features, BTN for feature buttons. Feature button row. I might not use that, but I'll put it there just in case we want to target this with some CSS. So let's save this and see what we've actually got. Control S, and let's go back to the site, move our root folder out of the way and refresh. There we go. We've got 3 little buttons. At the moment they're all the same and they say the same things. When I toggle them, they're not going to do anything because they don't know what to do. So when I click on them, I now want something to appear here, like a div or something like that, and we'll put some content in there. And also I'm going to want to adjust these so they're kind of in the middle. So I guess we could adjust those first. I'm using Google Chrome here. I'm going to right click and hit the inspector. Google Chrome's got this beautiful inspector tool that allows you to do some great stuff. I'm going to take this down a bit so we can see more. And I'm also going to take this up a bit so we can see pretty much all of it. Just take that down just a little bit more because I want to be able to see the whole, there we are, the whole of the background image there. So like I say, I right clicked, I've inspected, let's find that button, there's that button. What I want to do is take the whole row down. So I'm quite glad I gave it that class there. We can probably do it with that class, which is fbtn. Let's see how much padding we want on the top. I'll use a percentage this time. Padding top. Let's say 10% as a guess. It's not too far off. Still a little high. So I'm going to select the number 10, left click and drag. And while my cursor's on it, I can just roll my mouse wheel and push it down some more until it's where we want. I think 12 is just about right. 13's a bit low, so let's stick to 12. Okay, fine, brilliant. So let's copy our padding there. Left click, drag to select, Control C to copy. Now we can make this permanent by putting that class in our CSS file that we created. And if you notice with Google Chrome, when you do this, it's non-destructive. So when I hit the refresh button here, it'll all go back to the way it was. So you can edit and play with things without messing up your site. You see, I refresh, it goes back to how it was. So on the style side here and on the HTML, as long as you've got elements tab selected one side, it'll show HTML. Styles will show CSS. You can do absolutely what you want. Experiment away. Once you hit that refresh button, everything will go back. So it's a pretty good safety net. All right, well, let's go back to our folder. And if you haven't got it open already, we need to open our custom CSS file where our styles is. I've already got mine open, I'm pretty sure, but I'll just hit the open again. Here it is. Let's go down to where we were working. Well, we're actually there. Here's our features section. And that class was features button, wasn't it? It's a class, so it's period fbtn. Open and close some curly brackets and paste that bit of code in there. Control V to paste. There's our padding top. I'm just going to move it back in line with everything else. Keep it tidy. Control S to save. Now then, if I move our root folder out of the way and shut the inspector, when I refresh, our little buttons should drop down to fairly central right there. Boom. There we go. Great. So I'm not going to do it just yet, but we want to style these. So I think I want them different colors. So I'll have a red, a blue, and a purple button here. But first, we need to give it a data target, something that it's going to do. So let's do that. Let's go back to our HTML, open the brackets. Here's our features HTML. Okay, so here's our div with our row. I don't want it to be in our row. If I put it in our row, it'll only be 1/3 here because we've got it split up. So let's put it on a separate div so it'll be full width. And we're going to say new div, and we're going to give it the class equals. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it collapse. And that tells this that data toggle collapse. It's going to open one of these things. Which ones it's going to open? It's going to open whatever we've got here in the link. So we need to give this an ID. We'll give it that first one there, fdata1. So we'll call this the first one. So we'll say ID equals fdata1, or whatever you happen to have called yours in your href there. Okay, so it knows where it wants to go now. We've given it somewhere to target. let's make some content. So let's open this up, and inside we're going to use a card. Now I don't know if you remember, we used cards before when we did our pricing table. So we've actually got some cards that are pre-styled because we did all the styles for those. If you want to learn more about that, have a look back at the cards or the pricing table video where we used the cards. So let's put that in here, and the link to the playlist with every video for this Bootstrap Basics is just below there. So if you click on that, it'll give you the whole list of all the videos we've made in this series. Okay, and we're going to give this a div with a class of card body. So it's a card. Might want to put a little tag on the end of there because that's not a div if you don't. There we go. Talking and typing. Never been very good at that. Card body. Okay, so we've got our card body there. Let's close it out. There we go. And what do we want within our card body? Well, on this first one, I'm just going to put some dummy text in there just so we've got a little something. And I just want to pop that one back one. I'm just going to grab a bit of dummy text. It's probably not going to be enough there. Let's grab some from over here. I've got some. Now I haven't put this in any paragraph tags or anything. You can just put it in there pretty raw if you want to, or you can wrap it in paragraph tags. I guess I'll do one in a minute where we split it up and I'll put an image and a title and stuff like that in perhaps our other one. Okay, so that's fdata1. We've got our content. This is going to open it. In fact, all of those buttons are going to open the same one there because they're all targeting fdata1, and this is fdata1. I'll just show you. Control S. Let's go back to the site. Now when I refresh, we won't see any change, but watch what happens when I click on this button here. And it's going to open something, but you're going to notice it's already styled up with a gradient background, and I think it's got a box shadow and a white image. Let's have a look. There it is. Okay, and our text is dark. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got this gradient background behind purely because we used it. Card body on our pricing tables here, so it's automatically giving it that style. If you don't want that style, if you wanted an actual different style, you just give this a different class in your class on your fdata1 or whatever this was. You can give it another class and then style that separately, but I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to make that text light so we can see it, and we'll add a couple more, and we'll change our buttons so they say something different and they're the different colored buttons that we've been using. So let's go back to our HTML and go ahead and do that. So here's our buttons. There's one, well actually the buttons here, that's the div that they're in, 1, 2 and 3. First one, primary. I don't know if I got this the right way around, but we'll see. Success, because we've already got these pre-styled. Danger, and they're all gonna want to go to different ones. So we're gonna have fdata1. I don't know if I demonstrated that just now, but that one opens that. They're all, oh, have I saved it? I don't know if I have. Yeah, before I've saved it, they're all gonna open it, that exact same one, because we've given them the same target. So let's go back. fdata1, fdata2, fdata3. Of course, we want to do it over here as well with these fdatas, 2 and 3. Okay, well let's actually make our 2 and 3. So what I'm going to do is I'll copy these. And as I said before, if you click on the opening div of our fdata box here, It'll show you the closing one so you know how much you need to copy, and I want all of that. Control C, Control V, there's the second one. There's the third one. Let's make this number 2. And these card bodies, you can put in what you want. You can put in images, you can put in number 3, you can put in titles, text. We'll do that perhaps with one of them in a minute. So let's save that. Control S, back to the site. Now, when I refresh, you should have 3 different color buttons, and each of them should have a unique data toggle. So let's refresh. There we go. Actually, they came out red, blue, and purple the right way around. Good. So the first one's there. Second one will open up underneath it. Third one will open up underneath that. Like I said, I wanted to make that text white, didn't I? So let's go back and we'll just change out the second one or the first one so it's a little more interesting. Okay, let's just give this class of text light so it turns that text a light color. Control C, and we'll put it on the next one and the next one. Okay, well, let's say we want to split this first one up into 2 columns and have an image perhaps on the left and a title and some text on the right. Let's go in there. Let's create a row, div, with a class of row. And inside there, I want 2 columns, but I'm not going to give them a number. I'll just say column 1 and column 2. I want to take that closing div, Control X to cut, and wrap our text in it that we've got there. Now what I'll do also is I'm going to wrap this in a p tag. We might want to target this at a later date. Take that closing div and put it on the end. Control X to cut, Control V to paste. Okay, so inside this I want 2 columns. So I'm going to say div with a class equals simply column. No medium for, no nothing like that. We're just going to simply give it the class of column so it'll fill out what it wants. I'm going to leave that because I'm going to put an image in that particular column. Then I'm going to grab that again, Control C, I'll put it underneath and wrap our text in a column, and I want to close it out. So there's a closing div, Control C. Of course you can just type it out, it's just as easy, but it's already there. Alright, so now we've got 2 columns. Just tidy those up a little bit with some paragraph text in there. I'll just tab that across a little bit. Okay, and let's put a title in here. Say let's call it H3, and we'll have to give it that light class to make it light, because we styled our H3 to be a dark blue color, but we did a H3W class which will turn it white. That's why I'm putting it on there, and if you've been following along you would have seen me do this several times. Control X. Let's actually, no, I don't want to cut that. I want to put my title in between. So let's say my title. Okay, and inside here let's put an image. I want it to be fluid because I want it to be responsive. So let's say img, and where is the image? Source src equals, and it's in our img folder. All our images are. Let's just grab any old image. That'll do fine. That's the one we used in the background there. And it's an image, so it's got to have an alt tag. And that equals feet, as in features. It really doesn't matter. It should be descriptive, but I just put something in there. So there, we've got an image, we've got a row with 2 columns. And this is our first one here. And it should have a title, which should be light in color. And then some text underneath. Let's see what we got. Control S to save. Back to the site. Let's refresh. See what happens when we click the button this time. Okay. That worked really well. See how big that image is? I didn't give it the class of image fluid, so it's not responsive. So where's our image? There it is. Class equals img fluid. So it should shrink down and just fill the available space. So let's save that now. Control S, go back to the site, refresh, go back up, click the button now. There we go, that's more like it. So we've got 2 little columns in that one with a image on the left and some text and a title on the right. And in our second one, you can have them all open at once or none of them open. And third one, you style them exactly how you want to. Like I say, you can have call to action buttons, anything you like in there. Close them back up. Last thing I want to do is just change the names on those buttons. So I'm going to do that and we're done with this video. So here we are. We want backup, restore. And when we styled these buttons, we made them a certain width, so they'll all be the same width. It doesn't matter what you put inside of them, unless you put too much inside of them. Okay, and migrate. Save that, Control S, back to the site, and we're done. There we go, we got backup, restore, and migrate. And there you have it with the little breakup box. These are great for terms or privacy policy and stuff like that. So there you have it. That's how to add 3 little buttons using data collapse to hide and show various divs. I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you're interested in web development, take a look down below. We got some great free web development courses down there, as well as some premium courses with some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers, so do check it out. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.